Hey, Fish Lotta here with Fish Review. I'm going to take this stand here that I used to use for fish tanks years ago and get it all painted up and cleaned up. Take a look at it. It's just covered in dirt. It's been in the garage for 10 years. I've been, cutting wood and sanding things, and it's just kind of a mess. I started to wash it a little bit. I remembered I wanted to kind of film this. I'm just going to pressure wash it off so I can paint it. And let's start. Alright, now we got it all clean. It's a little wet. I think when I put this back together, I'm going to staple these shelves down instead of them being floating like that. You can see where I kind of tested that and forgot that I tested that just now. So, you can see this stand's a nice stand. Used to have 9 aquariums on it. Built by 2x6s. Overbuilt. Could park a car on it, I'm pretty sure. So I want to use this in the corner of the new fish area. Alright, we got that stand all dried up. I went ahead and brought it in the garage that night. I didn't want to get rained on the next day, all that stuff. The pressure washer didn't really get it all the way clean. But, we're going to paint over it. So, hopefully that's not a problem. But it's here ready to go, and now I'm going to paint this thing almost the same color. It's a little test area here, if you can see that. Anyway, I'm going to paint this today, and hopefully pretty soon we can have fish tanks on it. And I was thinking I'm going to end up moving this vertical brace, so I should probably take that out first. Put it back on later. I need my drill. I don't like where this is because it's going to block the tank, and I can move it over a little bit and get away with that, I think. So I'm going to be wanting to put this back on later. Mine ain't in the same spot. Jeez, that one's broken. It just broke. Hey, Sawzall. Time for the Sawzall. Okay, now the stand has been painted. It's set up. I've got it in position. I may need to straighten it a little bit, but it's level as I can get it because I'm in a garage and the floors in a garage are not level. They're sloped so that water will run out the front door when it rains, right? So the back of the garage is a lot higher than the front of the garage. And so just in the distance of this stand, I have to have that much of a board under one end to keep this end up about where it should be. This front corner is still just a tad low, but when I try to level it, the stand gets too wobbly. But it's pretty good. We can see here, this is the worst part of the level. It's just not, I'm particular. I want it better than that. It's close. Down here is good. I got 2 levels. See, this side's not bad. And this way, here's this level, you see, focus. See, that one's not too bad that way. So, next thing is to clean out these tanks and get them running. Alright, we got 2 20-gallon fish tanks here. This is 20 highs. They're used. They're dirty. So, I'm going to clean them out. They got some nasty stuff in there. Dead spiders and wasps. And they got some hard water stuff on the lids. So we'll try to get that off. Alright. A little cold out here today. But it's January. What do we expect? It's winter time. Off. sponge. I want to use sponges like this blue here on glass, and even then I'd be careful. I could still scratch it. Don't use the green ones, but blue or white would probably be even better, but I usually get away with the blue ones. Don't use the green ones. They'll scour the glass over time. Alright, and that is a lot better. No more dead spiders, wasps, webs, dirt, gross stuff. I'm gonna take it in and let it dry. Oh, heater saved my fingers. Save them from the cold from cleaning fish tanks. Whew, it's chilly out there. Both my hands are red. Yikes. Alright, here we have the tanks on the stand after they've been all dried up. I did wipe them down with a paper towel so they don't have water stains on them. But, you know, the problem here is that they don't, you know, have a background. I'm gonna see what we can do about that. I think I'm gonna paint one of them and put mat board on the other one. Alright, I'm gonna clean this tank off before we spray paint it and before we mask it off. So first, just some Windex to clean it off as clean as we can get it. Fingerprints off, any oil that was left behind from washing it outside. I'll be doing 3 sides of this, so I'm going to clean the 3 sides. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be good. Now, that side. Get it all clean, squeaky clean. Alright, I'm going to mask it off. Got some paper here. I don't care too much, except that I don't want anything on the plastic. I don't want it on the bottom either. Gotta keep that off. I think what we'll do, I don't want it to go inside the tank. Start by, I mean, it's going to be black paint, so if it gets on the black plastic, I guess that's okay. Oops, you want it too far so that it misses a spot. Do another piece so we have some paper so the paint doesn't get inside the tank. Have to be crazy here. Just gonna spray this stuff on there. Rust-Oleum Gloss Protective Enamel. That's real good. These are easy coats. Keep this mostly shut down. I don't like doing this in the garage because the paint, you know, it's going to get on some things possibly, but it's too cold outside and I don't want to wait, so I'm going to take my chances and do it right here. Now, if you're an expert at painting and you think I'm doing a terrible job, tell me in the comments, because, you know, I'm just trying to wing it here. I've done this before a bunch of times. Not my first time painting the back of a fish tank. Just want to block out the view of the wall behind the tank. You take a couple coats. It says to apply a second coat within 1 hour or after 48 hours. So you just let it dry a couple minutes, a little bit. See, there's some cat hair in it, of course. Wouldn't be right if I didn't have cat hair on it. I'm sure there's a bunch on me. All right, let me get a light. Put it in there. There's a light. Okay. Another light in here. Oh yeah, this side's not too bad. Let's turn on this light a minute. Ta-da! I don't see light coming out of here too bad. A little bit right here. The back side looks pretty good, except I can see a little bit of light here. Let me give it one more coat. You could use the kind of this that you brush on too. It comes in a can. I've got a can of that as well around here. I just like the spray paint. It's less mess. Well, it goes everywhere. So I guess there's that. I think we're good. Ooh, wish you could smell the paint. Yeah. Okay. And there it is. Gotta let it dry. Nothing else to do here. Okay, on the one tank here, we spray painted the back black, the back and the sides, and that looks really good. And the other way that we can do this, that I like to do, is to use this mat board. It's for framing pictures. So here's a piece of it. You can see this side's actually the good side. It's got a little mark in it, but that won't show in the tank. This is really black, so we put this, and it's really thick. It's really, I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty thick stuff. If the light will catch it right, I'll move it around maybe in somewhere in here. The light will show how thick the edge is. But it's real thick stuff, okay? And so I've cut this to size for the tank with, you know, just a razor blade and a straight edge. And you can lay it on there. Now, I didn't cut it perfectly, so I'm gonna put the flattest edge, you know, put the edge all the way to the top. I've got a little gap on the bottom. We'll fill that in because I can't recut it. I've got an extra sheet, but don't want to waste it. I'm just gonna tape this on. With packing tape. This will peel off someday if you want to peel it off. Smush it down. You don't want to cut it too big so that it gets bowed. So, and I probably got too much to tape right there. Pretty close. Just leave the excess hanging for now. And I'm also going to take some electrical tape. There's going to be gravel in these tanks, I think. But just in case there's any light that shows, we'll just put a piece of this black tape over it. Like that. Okay, and this mat board does have a front and a back. So I've got the back facing out. On this stuff, it's really similar. You probably wouldn't even tell if I got it backwards. I have a concrete floor. The rule of the concrete floor is don't slide the fish tank on the concrete floor. You will scratch up the plastic, the trim. So, lay this in here nice and straight. This one's cut better. I could just lay this excess down right here. Just lay that down. I don't need to cut it. Set it up there. From front to back. That way the excess can go over the back. Just tape that on like that. Fold it over. Okay. Okay. away from the water. This tank's still wet from washing it. I don't want that to get wet. Water won't kill this stuff, but I know it's a fish tank, but I've had this on my 75-gallon tank in the house for 10 years. It still looks good. Here's this tank. Ignore the dust and water spots from cleaning it. And take this light here. And so, you know, this with the matte board, I think you get a little bit different effect. The light reflects a little bit from it, almost like it gives it sort of a depth. And then over here, it's a little less reflective. It'll be different with water in it. So we'll compare them side by side then once they're filled up. I mean, here's the two tanks. I think they look pretty good. Get back here, that should be a good shot. You know, finally this is starting to come together. So I'm getting something. I've got the backgrounds blacked out. Of course, the white walls behind there. We don't want the white walls showing through. The next thing will be to get some water in these things and get them started. All right, it's been a long time coming for me. Not for you guys watching this, but this has been a few weeks here of getting things ready, getting this rack in place, other things going on. Here we go. We've got the tanks in the stand. First two tanks. And we're going to put some water in them. Finally. I'm so excited. Then the coordination part, because the water's going to come from the house. It's going to come through this python. And if I just turn off the valve while that's on, the hose might burst. I don't know what it can take, so I really don't want to do that. So fill the tanks up and do a little time lapse too, and we'll go from there. So this is hard right now because this is my garage full of all kinds of stuff, and when I had a fish room out here before, there was I set up the 550-gallon water jug to run water in just from the spigot outside because I don't have running water out here, and that's how I handled it, where I could put that in the jug and the room was warm enough that tank would warm up in a couple days to room temperature, which would be fish temperature, and I could just pump that in the tanks, but I don't have that right now. I'm probably going to have to do something like that. So I'm back to where I was at the beginning of my last fish room, where I had to like hook up to a faucet in the house, which is really awkward to do that, and then run out here and turn it off, and it's kind of messy to do all that. So we're going to fill this up. This tank here's got some paint residue in it. When I spray painted the tank, I made a mistake. So I masked it off, but I was in a hurry and I thought I'd be good enough. I didn't completely mask off the top of the tank so that some of the overspray wouldn't get in there. So on the inside of this glass, there's a little bit of, see that? It's on my finger now. A little bit of overspray on there that I've scraped some of it off with a razor blade carefully. Although I think I scratched the tank too, so that's why you shouldn't use a razor blade on glass if you can help it. But I'm gonna scrub the rest of that off with like a sponge later. And I don't think it's on there real bad, but it's bad. I didn't want that extra step. I didn't want to waste the time to have to clean the glass off. I could have spent 5 more minutes masking it better, and that wouldn't have happened. But still, I think the black paint here looks really good. The black matte on this tank, it has kind of a reflective quality. I kind of like that it creates a depth of sorts, or like a lighting effect. Whereas this tank, the black is just dead black and it just absorbs everything. So as long as I don't put black fish in there, that'll be cool. But I like both looks. It just depends on what you want. I don't know what this water temperature is. I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm not putting fish in there today. I've got a bucket of gravel here that I've pre-rinsed. So here's the bucket of gravel. This is a 25-pound bag of gravel that I had. It's left over, pretty sure, from my 75-gallon tank. A couple years ago I changed out the gravel in it. Not really probably enough for the 2 tanks, but I'm going to split it up between these 2 for now. We'll just see if I want to mix some other stuff. I've got some more stuff in the barn I'd have to dig out. Just getting these things set up. Right now they're just going to have plants as they get established, and some filters. I've got some got these to put on there. Marineland Penguin 200s. Bigger than the tank needs. I mean, it's up to 50 gallons, but I like this size. This size works well. The price was right. They were just over 20 bucks. So can't go wrong with that. And I really love these bio wheels. I always have. Some people don't like them, but I do. I think they're my favorite. And I'm familiar with them. I used to have a bunch of these, but when I sold the Fishroom, these went with it. Alright, so now I'm going to put some gravel in these tanks. I put some water in the bucket so that I can help rinse the gravel off. Of course, I rinse the gravel in the house with a strainer before I put it in this bucket. And I figured this little bit of water in here will help me get some more dust out. It doesn't look like there's really any dust in the water. So what I'll do, I'll probably end up having to scoop water out. I'm going to put one at a time in each tank to keep it even. This is tap water right now. The water hasn't been treated. I've been using Prime for a while. I don't know, you tell me what you like better, or if you like something else, or if you don't like this, it's fine for me. It's supposed to remove chlorine and chloramine and detoxify the ammonia nitrate and nitrite and nitrate. And let's see, it says to put in 1 capful for 50 gallons. So these being about 20 gallons, I'm going to try to put a half a capful in here. That's a little more than half. That's okay. Brand new tank. I've used more than double of this stuff before. It's been fine so far for me. I can't say, you know, you make your own choices here, but there's that. And that will get rid of all the chlorine, chloramine, all that good stuff. We have chloramine here. I would imagine most places do. This is turning into something finally. It's been a lot of work in here. I've done a lot of work. I repainted the stand. I've painted the walls behind here. Painted the door next to me. You know, things haven't been painted in over 18 years. So that was falling apart. Everything looks pretty nice, I think. We got these tanks set up. I'm really excited to, like, this is the first time I've had more than one aquarium running in a long time. I used to have 40 out here. So here they are. This is right where tanks were in the original Fishroom on this same stand. So this is kind of sentimental for me. And this stand was kept inside. It's in really great shape. It's been a wonderful shelf for me for years for all my junk, which is now pushed back that way. Got to work on that too. And this stand had 9 20-gallon tanks on it at the end there. So, you know, for other videos you've seen, you can see where there were tanks on this stand. And there's a couple 20 gallons back now. So we'll just go from there. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run in the house. I'm going to grab a few plants and throw in there. Alright, I got some plants, just some scraps of plants. They're nothing special, but they're what's in the tank in the house. And I'm going to use those plants to, I'm sure they've got lots of bacteria stuff growing on them, help get these tanks, get the nitrogen cycle started so that they'll be ready for fish. Here's a mixture of, I don't even know what this stuff is. It seems like water Sprite, but it's different from anything I've ever had. And then this is Christmas tree moss here. Put some of that in there. It's got all kinds of stuff that's going to start this tank off, and these plants are going to rot. I wish I had snails. One thing I don't have is snails. I had a bunch of snails, and they would really help kick off the biological cycle in here by eating the dead plant bits and making their waste. But I had too many snails a while back, so what did I do? I got 2 clown roaches, which I still have, and they're huge now. And they ate every single snail. It took them several months Snails were hiding in places. See, these plants are falling apart because they're not in the best conditions in there. I don't like the one plant. The moss stuff would hold together. I like this Christmas tree moss. So I'm going to let it float. Let it float for now. Just to put something in here alive. I'm not going to try to anchor them down. There's still air bubbles in the water and they'll just float away. Looking pretty good. I kind of like it. We can call this started. This is the beginning. This is where this project begins. I've had the other videos to kind of get myself going, but this is where the project begins. This is the start of the Fishy Review Fish Room. This is where we're going to go with this. I'll add on some tanks. Got some more work in this garage to do. Hoping to build a building behind the house so I have actually room for it. This may all have to move a few months from now. Who knows? This is not the best place to do it, but no excuses. We're going to just do this. This is what I want to do. This is for you out there. This is for you fish heads out there. We've got to help the hobby. We've got to make it better. We've got to keep it from dwindling away. It just seems a little weak to me right now compared to what it was even 10 years ago. So I'm all for supporting it. I love this. Had fish for years. And this is a great opportunity. I'm really excited to go get fish I've never had before because I've been in kind of a rut. I had angelfish. I had bred angelfish. I had certain kinds of fish I would always get. If I'd set up a new tank, or not a new tank necessarily, if I had for a long time I'd have 1 or 2 tanks, but if I had to move, for instance, or if my fish had died out over time, I would go replace the same kind of fish. So if I had angelfish and some gouramis in there and certain catfish and they died, whatever, I would go get those same fish again instead of branching out and doing new stuff. I've always been interested in the new stuff. Right now these tanks, I don't have a goal for them. I don't know what's going to go in them. I think I'll take some of the fish out of the tank in the house and move over here. For now, certainly I want to set up an Abuna tank. I want to set up a saltwater tank. I've never done saltwater. All these years having fish, many years, never done saltwater. Got to do that. Absolutely got to do that. Got some 40-gallon tanks over here. Might be useful for that. I don't know. There's just, tell me what you guys want to see. Tell me in the comments. Tell me what it is that you guys out there want to see. I'll do it. I want to help you. That's what I want to do. And I'm going to learn while I'm doing it. It's all exciting to me. It doesn't matter. So I love it. Here it is. This is it. The tanks are here. I'm so happy. This is so cool. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate you doing this. Right now I'm going to assume that this concludes this build here, this stage 1 of the fish room. This is, what do you call this? This is getting something in place. Something is here now. And there's tanks running with water and filters. They don't have heaters yet. We'll work on that. And, put some fish in here. Maybe something I haven't had before. Maybe we'll start with the ones in the house so I know they're established because this is all new stuff. It's new gravel, new everything. So we've got to let them kind of settle. That might take weeks. I'm trying to help them with these plants. I may put some filter media from the house in here too a little bit to help boost the filters. Had this whole series. I'm cleaning this up and getting this ready and painting it and setting up the tanks on it. It's a series? It's not a series. Had this whole, it's a bunch of videos I'm going to glue together into one. So, hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. This is Fish Lottie with Fishy Review. Remember, have fun. Thanks.